Dallas Cowboys Minicamp gets underway today. We'll have plenty of coverage on that, but some news and rumors before things get started for the Cowboys. First up, Micah Parsons and Trevon are expected to attend Cowboys mandatory minicamp. Nick Harris breaking that news yesterday afternoon when they kind of did their physicals and whatnot, which is how you know if they're in the building or not. Micah and Diggs were back at the Star. Expectations that both will be in attendance for minicamp. Micah's isn't a surprise. I think the question mark is, how much does he do? Is this a hold-in situation where he's there, he's just not on the field? I think that's a very possible outcome. But he is present, and he's there for the playbook type of stuff, the leadership stuff that we know Schottenheimer has essentially requested of him. Trevon Diggs will not be on the field because he's coming off of his injury, so he's going to be rehabbing that stuff still. But he is in attendance, which means he'll avoid the fines, and hopefully we'll get a better feel for where he's at with his recovery process. We are in a sub-battle this month against Giants now, thanks in part to the fact that Marshall was having groomsman duties at Mitch's wedding. We have gained ground on Giants now. Let's take advantage and bury them. Hit that sub button, and you'll get more free Cowboys YouTube videos, especially on minicamp, all week long. Let's go to Tyler Guyton, and I do like this for the Cowboys' young left tackle. He posted a photo of him getting some extra training work in with one Tyron Smith, who, by the way, has shed some of the offensive line weight and still looks like he is in incredible shape. That dude is a freak athlete, physical human being. I love this from Tyler Guyton. I love the fact that he is working with Tyron Smith, at least even in a limited capacity. He has said he knows he has to be better. He's got to make some changes. Last year wasn't good enough, and that's all talk. You want to have the talk as opposed to no talk, but these are actions. These are things that we can see him doing to actually deliver on trying to be better this upcoming season. And the Cowboys need him to be better. We all know that. He wasn't good enough last year. Guyton knows that. The Cowboys know it. This offense isn't going to be in as good of shape if we don't get that from Tyler Guyton. So I am glad to see him getting extra training in, extra time in. With a player they never really got to have that with originally, right? Never got that mentorship from Tyron Smith. I'm glad Tyron's still around Guyton and potentially others as well. So I like this from Guyton. It's a good first step. Still plenty of things to actually deliver on this upcoming season. So I want you to be honest here. What is your confidence level in Tyler Guyton? Scale it for me from 1 to 10. 1, the low end, 10, the high end. Let me know at the pinned comment of today's show. Let's go to some NFL news that impacts the Cowboys. And first up is Dameon Pierce. The Texans are signing Nick Chubb, 1 year, $2.5 million deal, up to $5 million. Haven't seen guaranteed figures. I would guess that $2.5 million mark is the guaranteed figure. And with the addition of Nick Chubb, with the drafting of Woody Marks, with essentially third-round pick draft capital given up to acquire him, I have a tough time finding a spot for Dameon Pierce on the Texans roster. If everyone's healthy, there's Joe Mixon, Nick Chubb, Woody Marks is going to be a key third down back for this team. Dare Ogunbowale is a core special teamer. They've got Jawar Jordan. They've got J.J. Taylor to probably not make the roster. I feel as if the likely path here is that Houston moves on from Dameon Pierce. The timing, I don't know, but this is a player we've discussed as a potential Cowboys option in the past. He very much fell out of favor last season in Houston. I think there's a very real chance he ends up being available. Also available, the elite sale going on with our friends over at Chubbies. Summer is here. It is officially time to let the dogs out, and by the dogs, we mean your legs, as long as you're not skipping leg day. If your pups have been stuck in jeans or sweats for the last few months, set them free with the lined swim collection from Chubbies, as their biggest sale of the year is on. $45 bottoms, shorts, and swim trunks, by the way, and up to 65% off select gear. Comfy, casual, and built for life, the Chubbies original stretch shorts can live on your legs. They're available in long, short, and way short, and they come with a relaxed fit, elastic waistband, and no fuss design. You can then pair those shorts with the performance polo, and you are good to go. Brunch, backyard party, crashing a wedding, maybe just golf. Chubbies has you covered. So don't wait. For a very limited time, shop Chubbies' biggest sale of the year for $45 shorts and up to 65% off select gear. Head to chubbyshorts.com/chat and grab your favorites before they are gone. And if you missed the sale, don't sweat it. Use our exclusive code CHAT chat for 20% off at chubbyshorts.com/chat. Support the show. Let them know we sent you when the survey asks, and turn some heads this summer. Make sure you're dressed to impress in Chubbies. Let's go back to Dameon Pierce here. Kind of a weird 2024 campaign. You're going to see 7.3 yards per carry and go, oh my God, yes, but also no. Had a great regular season finale when he ran all over a demoralized Titans defense and had a 92-yard run, which was awesome. But it also wasn't involved really at all early in the season. He had been completely phased out after a campaign in which he wasn't good in 2023. He struggled at less than 3 yards per carry, and he had a good showing against the Patriots and kind of a garbage time showing there. But he had 21 carries the entire season up until that final game of the regular season. He was not the guy we saw in 2022. So it makes him kind of a wild card. And the Cowboys have wild cards already. Javonte Williams, Miles Sanders, to an extent, maybe Jalen Will, he's going to make the team, so it's not as much of a wild card. What is the goal of adding Dameon Pierce? That's the main question here. I would put good money that the Texans move on from Dameon Pierce at some point before week 1. He was better in garbage time last year for the Texans, but he was not a factor in the offense in the games that mattered at all this past season. His play has fallen off. I think the interest you should have is, well, you don't have to guarantee him very much potentially. Maybe the Texans cut him in August, little to no guaranteed money and role, and you take him as a flyer, right? That might take trade off the table. Because if you're trading for somebody, you're kind of committing to them at least a little bit. If he gets cut in August, if the Texans want to hold him and sure there are no injuries, well, now the timing kind of gets off with, okay, when is he ready to make an impact for you? And there's this bigger question. Is he better than Javonte Williams and Miles Sanders? Maybe, but maybe not. And I wonder with where the Cowboys are at in this backfield, if they are better off aiming higher altogether and not adding another, low-risk, high-reward candidate when they have several of those already, and if they should try to pursue a more proven, impactful name and not just try to take a pennies on the dollar, low-risk, limited potential impact guy. So would you add Dameon Pierce? Y for yes, N for no. Let me know in the comments section of today's show. All right, we'll wrap up with some more contract talk here. So Rashad Bateman, the Ravens wide receiver, the Cowboys did have trade talks with, by the way, agreed to a 3-year, $36 million deal, $20 million guaranteed with the Baltimore Ravens. Now, I saw even some friends say, well, you should offer that deal to George Pickens. Sure, he ain't going to do it. I don't think Bateman's contract has any impact whatsoever on the George Pickens deal. David Mulgeta, his agent, is not even going to answer the phone. He might block your number if you try to do a $12.25 million per year deal. We'd all do it. It's a no-brainer. Pickens is not. It's not even in his ballpark already. Some notable wide receiver contracts. Obviously, Jamar Chase is number one. I do think DK Metcalf is worth acknowledging since that's what the Steelers gave him. Brandon Ayuk got 30. T. Higgins, Jalen Waddle, and Devonta Smith, the not wide receiver ones, but like on their team, but like it's the 1A, 1B conversation. In that $28 to $25 million range, Chris Godwin got 22. Christian Kirk got 18. Come on. Jerry Jeudy got 17.5. The best season from Rashad Bateman doesn't match the worst season from George Pickens. It's not even in the same ballpark. I do think, however, the Bateman deal with some cap adjusting for whenever it happens next year in theory could actually impact the ceiling for a Jalen Tolbert deal, which probably does not come in from the Cowboys. Now, Bateman did outproduce Jalen Tolbert last season. Not by a lot, though. And I do think like the maximum Tolbert gets ends up being around the current Bateman contract. I do want to emphasize that. But I think Bateman is like, is he really a 2? Is he more of a 3? Like, is he kind of in between there? And I do think the, in general, wide receiver market, which is where I'll go next, all points towards Jalen Tolbert's probably not on the Cowboys next season. So what do you think ends up happening? Will he be? A for yes, B for no. Sound off in the comments of today's show. I think the most likely outcome is this is Jalen Tolbert's last year in Dallas. And not because he's like a terrible player, but because he's just going to price himself out of it. The market at wide receiver is already at $10 million per year for sub 600-yard wide receivers, which Tolbert is a above 600-yard wide receiver. Miami Brown, Tutu Atwell, Josh Palmer, all those guys got $10 million per year. Tolbert outproduced every single one of them last season. So why wouldn't he expect to get 1 year 10, 220, something in that ballpark? And when you add years, you normally add more average per year on top of that. I would not be surprised if he puts up similar numbers to last year. I think it's possible, by the way. Someone easily says, we'll pay him that. Sure, we need somebody to be a receiver 2/3 for us. And if that's the case, I'm happy for Tolbert to get paid elsewhere. Because I actually don't want to live in that market. I don't like that current going rate for fringe 2s and really 3s in the wide receiver room. I think that's too expensive. I don't think you're getting good value there. So, like Tolbert, hope he plays well, but this is probably his last year in Dallas.